Hey guys, this is the Island Boy Travels and I'm bringing a new series here, and this series is called Basic Cruising. Now, what is basic cruising? Well, you know how a lot of people do reviews on cruise ships, but they include things like the specialty dining, the excursions and stuff like that. Yep, none of that. Yes, basic cruising is what it sounds like. We're gonna see if these cruises are worth going on with just what's included in the cruise fare. So to go into more detail, basically means I can't spend any money. And that means no specialty restaurants, no excursions, and no internet if it's not included. That's right, no internet. So today we'll be looking at the MSC Seashore. Me and my father went on a 4-day cruise from Orlando to Miami to Ocean Key and to the Bahamas. Now we're gonna break this down into 5 categories: food, amenities, service, entertainment, and price. Now, first things first, the food. Food is the backbone of any cruise. If the food is bad, basically the whole cruise is bad. But good thing for MSC Seashore, the food is pretty good. There are 2 main dining venues. Yes, there is the Brooklyn Cafe that has like snacks and a breakfast, like continental breakfast as well. But just in general, you're gonna be either going to the buffet or the main dining room. Now, MSC does it a little differently. There isn't just one huge main dining room like Royal Caribbean that stretches along 3 floors. They have several main dining rooms. Now, ours was the Manhattan, and the food's the same. Each dining room just looks different. But let's go back to the buffet. The buffet was actually huge, and it had a lot of variety. There were different things depending on the day. There were some staples, and I think some things made a return, but you never knew what exactly you were going to get every time you went down to the buffet. And the pizza. We have to talk about the pizza because MSC could take that buffet pizza. First of all, even calling it buffet pizza is an insult. This is not buffet pizza, even though it is in the buffet. This is like pizza you'd go to from an authentic restaurant, and one that would really sell well if the MSC actually put a restaurant somewhere. They could put it in plenty of places in the US and this pizza would sell. That's how good it is. But moving on from the delicious pizza, the main dining room, I didn't go for breakfast, I didn't go for lunch, but I went to every dinner and I did not regret my decision. First things first, get that prime rib on day 1. That's the only day it's available. You'll thank me later. Now, the food in the main dining room was delicious. I want to point out though, one thing in particular, and that is the ice cream. Now, I don't know what went wrong with the ice cream in the buffet because that's just regular old, not that good ice cream. But the ice cream in the main dining room is amazing. Yes, it tastes like they made that themselves, which I believe they did. I don't think that comes out of a container. I think they literally made that ice cream themselves. Now, they have 3 flavors every night. Vanilla and chocolate are staples, but there's a 3rd flavor that changes every night. One night it could be banana. The other night it could be rum raisin. The other night it could be pistachio. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter because they're all delicious. Yes, and you can order ice cream on the side of another dessert. For example, you could say like, give me the New York cheesecake with a scoop of vanilla on the side. Yes, you can do that. Other than that, the menu was pretty decent in the main dining room. And it actually gave a good variety because they had certain staples and then they had certain things that were different every night. Now, I believe some things made a return, but hey, if you see something you like that is not a staple, get it when you can because you don't know whether that's coming back or not. Now, moving on from the food, we have the amenities. Now, unfortunately, this is where MSC, the Seashore, really goes down because there aren't too many amenities. The TV in the room, for example, doesn't have much channels, and the first like dozen or so were just things about the ship. And then you count the fact that not all the channels are English. You're down to, I think, less than 20 channels, if you can only speak English, that is. Now, some are enjoyable. My father and I really enjoyed Turner Classic Movies, but yeah, it's just not much. Now, the room itself is pretty nice, though. It's pretty spacious, and they even upgraded us to a balcony for free when we paid for an ocean view, but can't count that in this review because this is basic cruising. The bathroom is actually pretty spacious as well, and it has a glass shower, which is really nice. But once again, I said there was no internet included, which means that we didn't have actual internet on the ship. Now, truth be told, we only had 1 day where we were without internet because my father and I are from the Bahamas. We live in the Bahamas. So while we were in the US, we just used our phones, and data. And then when we went to the Bahamas, we simply went home. For some reason, even though Ocean Key's in the Bahamas, my father still couldn't access data. But For the other 3 days, we were good to go. But for you Americans, I'm not sure. This may be a downside because if you guys would only have data probably in Orlando and Miami, and then the whole time in the Bahamas, you probably have no data. So amenities definitely is where it really hit the floor. Though one thing I gotta admit that comes in the room is this lovely large desk that can actually fit 2 laptops. All right, service. Now, service is where MSC goes right back up. You know why? Because the service was great. The people are friendly, they're helpful. It's really easy to just contact the front desk if something goes wrong. And in general, the service was just a joy. But I gotta point out this. Our cabin attendant was very attentive. I don't remember his name, unfortunately, but he only cleaned the cabin when me and my father weren't there. So he must have somehow learned our schedules or something like that, because it was like a magician's act. You leave a dirty cabin, you come back, it's clean. We never, as far as I know, saw him like actually try to enter the cabin when we were actually inside it. So kudos to the cabin attendant. Really did a good job. Entertainment. Now, there is plenty of stuff to do on this cruise. They have the whole schedule of stuff that's included. And then they have Pirates Cove, which is their water park. It has 6 adult slides and a kiddie area. It's very good, very enjoyable. Then they also have the sports area. You can play ping pong. There's the pools, of course. You can watch a movie. They have certain movies playing at certain times out by the pool area, actually. So there was plenty of stuff to do on this cruise that actually came included with the cruise fare. And last but certainly not least, the price. This is where, let's face it, MSC is known for this. Cheap cruises, and this is no exception. Now, I want to point this out because you can't count the price me and my father actually paid. Because my father wanted an ocean view, so we went for an ocean view. But this cruise could have been, if me and my father did not go for an ocean view, and this is of course for 2 people in 1 room, $219. So that's the price we'll use. And then you pay $64 for amenities. So in total, this cruise was $284 per person. And that's everything. Yep. So price, basically unbeatable. This is a 4-day cruise. I mean, and you're paying less than you do for most hotels. And the hotel doesn't come with food and entertainment. So let's go over this list one more time. Food, really good food, right? But the lack of variety does get to you. The fact that you basically, yes, there's the Brooklyn Cafe, but you basically only have the buffet and the main dining room. This gives food, which normally could go much higher because most of the food I ate was pretty good, but lack of variety gives it a 7.5 out of 10. Amenities, this is where they go down, especially the fact that you have to pay for internet. I know that's normal with cruising, but hey, we're going to count it here. And we're going to count it with any other cruises I do in the future. So amenities gets, well, it would, I should say, get a 5 out of 10. But because of that huge desk in the room where me and my father could both put our laptops and work at the same, or just beyond them basically at the same time, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Service, excellent, 9 out of 10. It would get a 10, but sometimes when you call the front desk, they're a bit slow coming to your room. So 9 out of 10. Entertainment, really good stuff. Water park, plenty to do that doesn't cost you any extra money. So entertainment gets a nice 8 out of 10. Price, 10 out of 10. I'm pretty sure there's no other cruise line that gives you a 4-day cruise for this price in the US. I'm just pretty sure it doesn't exist. So 10 out of 10 for their price. Altogether adds up to 40.5 out of 50, which means MSC Seashore gets a basic cruise score of 8.1 out of 10. Yes, guys, for the price, this cruise is really worth it. There's plenty of stuff to do. There's not many options with eating, but the food is great. And in my opinion, you don't need internet. Now, that's a little biased because me and my father simply used our data for the first 2 days because obviously you're still in the US. But for those US citizens, you guys don't have internet in the Bahamas. See, when my father and I came to Nassau, we simply went home before going back on the cruise. But for those of you US citizens, that would mean 2 days without internet. So for my experience, don't need it. But you may. But if you really can hold out on the internet for 2 days, then this is definitely a worthwhile experience. For the price, it's unbeatable. Thank you, and may God bless you all.